You stand here amongst my achievements, not yours! Hello. I have everything together now with this podcast. Everything has worked. Audio and visual. So I'm very, very happy with this one. This is a long one as well. First podcast we did, it cut halfway through. So at a certain point that will be announced. So it's a long one. But as I said, this is how I wanted the podcast. This was my inception for it. So hopefully you enjoy. And I'm gonna go. Bye. Welcome back to Squatch News, the one podcast where you can get all the squatchy goodness. I am joined by my returned hosts, Georgie, Sean, and new guest Tom Tedders, and the Squatch boy himself, Passmaster General. Passy, when are you gonna get that Sasquatch video of the guy, the Sasquatch elder, doing broken English to the bloke that stumbles across him in the woods? Have you any sort of evidence of that being on YouTube or anywhere else on forums or anything else?
It's got a stage fright.
Stage fright. I reckon it's about 96, 92, somewhere in that mark. Unfortunately, it's lost the ages.
It lost the time.
I've tried many
retell the
times.
story of the bridge version, me too.
Just
because I think because I think the 20 listeners. Thank you for the 20 people that listened to the last episode. Because I think the 20 listeners would like to know that you're. Yeah. I just refreshed the page over and over again, just to bump up the numbers, man. Rookie numbers. Those are rookie numbers, man. I think the 20 listeners need to know that you're an avid Sasquatch hunter, and if you could, you'd travel to the North American kind of peninsula.
Pacific Northwest is typical Scotch country, but you also got to think about Canada and even parts of Texas. They've had sightings, so you know. But,
about the Yeti?
not hunter is the incorrect word. Enthusiast, more of an enthusiast. Yeah.
It's good. It's interesting. I mean, you never know. They could be wandering about.
We could spend the whole next hour talking about this. So.
Well, you stumbled across. Yeah, unfortunately, that's a whole separate podcast. Squatch time with
Squatch Watch.
Passy, Squatch Watch. Yeah, exactly. That's on the cards. That's on the cards. No, we're going to talk about absolute bollocks probably. So, for the 20 people again that listened last episode, George and Sean are back here, but also now accompanied by two other members of our clan, which is Tom Tatters. It's based off Gollum's line in Lord of the Rings. He just decided to choose that as his gamer tag, and then that's just stuck with him.
No,
he spelled it wrong.
He spelled taters tatters. So now forevermore, his trousers are in bloody tatters.
I did not know that.
Back then you had to pay for it as well.
No.
Yeah.
That's a bit of trivia. I didn't know. Wow.
And the more you know. And the the other new member, the introduction is Passy. Again, the avid Squatch watcher. He did have the best gamer tag. Unfortunately, that has now lost to time. It was Ultramarine 300. He was an absolute beast on Halo 3. God, I miss that man.
Died in the Covenant
What a legend.
Wars. R.I.P.
Yeah, Spartans never die, mate. You know, they're just missing in action.
True that.
So, to put our two newcomers on the spot, I hope you two boys have thought about the question that we had on the last podcast, which is, again, one game, each generation. What's that game and why? Go. Tatters, you first.
Okay.
There you go.
I have had a thought about this, and I've got some. Well, I'm going to go for different suggestions. So I'm going to go for N64. Obviously, Zelda would be Ocarina of Time would be my go-to. But I've gone for Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Ooh, yes, I did enjoy that back in the day.
Yeah.
It was Rare's kind of journey into like the more adult kind of humor. Like they would just correct me if I miss anything. What is it? Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Gold. They did Gold. Yeah, they did Goldeneye,
Yeah,
didn't
I
they?
think Ollie.
Yeah. So yeah, they mainly did the kind of, you'd say, kind of teenager kind of games, and Conker's Bad Fur Day was probably the biggest one for like innuendos and stuff. It was probably the most like adult looking. It was a cartoon adult game, and it was just I remember playing that a few times and the many references in that game. Yeah, it was good fun.
I really enjoyed that. So that was probably my second most played game apart from Zelda. But yeah, offering different suggestions.
Everyone's played Zelda. I think I'd be surprised if it's not going to be Zelda or Smash for N64, even Mario 64, just for the N64 era. I mean, or GoldenEye, to be honest.
Diddy Kong Racing was up there as well.
What a shout! What a shout! Yeah, Diddy Kong Racing was great. People kind of forget that was one of the probably up there with Mario Kart.
I personally think it was better at the first one. And
well, you had. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
I just think Diddy Kong Racing was funner than the first Mario Kart that came out.
Because didn't you have, wasn't it? You had aeroplane, car, and you had boat. Was it those three?
I think it was boat. Yeah.
Because then the map, you'd still be on the same track, but obviously it'd all be because I'm pretty sure you could choose which one you want, but
it's a dinghy.
Yeah, you might be right. It'd be a dinghy. Yeah. And the track was still exactly the same, but as in you were still like. You could be in an airplane and be like just behind someone who's driving on the ground. I think it was quite unique with that
aspect to it.
Yeah, and I forgot, like Georgie mentioned last time, the list always, you could say one game, you can immediately remember another one, and you think, I should have gone with that one. Did you boys ever play Jet Force Gemini?
Yep.
On the 64.
Great game.
You blow up like ants. You're like these two kind of like anime looking kids, and you're like it was a little bit gory, but you were basically just blowing up like these ants, and it was, I would say it was a bit gory, but it was like green blood, I think, or something. But
I got stuck.
Yeah,
on
that was in 64.
I couldn't go. I can't remember what the mission was.
Wow. That and I think it was Toy Soldiers or something. That was another hard one that I remember on the N64, but I never got around to completing that. So cool. Conker's Bad Fur Day. What's your next one?
Next console I got was the GameCube. Thanks to Passy's terrible advice. That was good. I think I'm gonna go.
How dare you?
That was good. I'm gonna go for Time Splitters 2, or as I called it back then, Time Splinters 2.
Splinters. I've made that mistake though before. It's quite easy to make. Time Splinters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great game.
I mean, they had a forge type mode on there, didn't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can make all sorts of levels. I remember a few crazy ones came up with, but classic, another classic. GameCube was that. So yeah, what's
next
console
console was Wii. And to be honest, I didn't play too much on the Wii, so I've gone for Smash Brothers Brawl.
Of course. I mean, I think Smash is going to be. Yeah, Smash is going to be mentioned a lot just on this like podcast in general. So, yeah.
What was that samurai
Nintendo's
shooter on the Wii called?
Red Steel.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Red Steel. Yeah, I remember playing that. You had the
one.
sword as well, didn't you? As the nunchuck, as the remote, you had it as the sword, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a launch game, I think. So. It was there was a lot sort of riding on that when it came out, and I don't think it quite lived up to expectations that it was going to mirror, your movements exactly. But it was quite a nice little game because with the motion controls, obviously you could point and shoot where you wanted to, and then with the samurai, it kind of picked up a few movements of where you're going to do it. It was quite a nice little game. I was just thinking on going back to the when you mentioned Brawl, I remember the issue that they had with the discs, right? That when you got them, because it was like I don't know, it was like a new multi-layered disc or something, because the size of it was slightly bigger than normal games, that some of the Wii's didn't read it right? Can you remember that far back,
I
Pazzy?
don't remember that.
Because
I remember certain GameCube games having the
I
issue because they were so small.
I remember Brett having a lot of issues with some of the Wii discs we had, but I can't remember specifically what the issue with them was.
Yeah, I just remember you saying that to me, so maybe you made
It was the
it
Wii.
up on the spot.
It was the Wii. Maybe. Was it the Wii ones that were really small? It was, wasn't it?
No, the Wii
it
ones
was
were
the GameCube.
normal size.
I think it was cool. You could play the Wii and GameCube games in the Wii. That was pretty cool.
You could, yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
could.
you
They were
could,
just
couldn't
very,
you?
very temperamental to go in because the GameCube ones were so small. They were like micro,
Yeah.
like mini disc kind of sized discs, weren't they?
I miss cartridges.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, N64 was the last great hurrah for that one.
Blowing on them like a harmonica when
Blowing
they
them in,
weren't
making
working.
work.
So Brawl was a dual layer DVD, so it had issues with it being red. So it was quite reported on, like an optical read by the optical center. So, yeah, that I
Good to know you didn't make
wasn't
it up.
making it up. Because I think what happened when it launched, we went round to your house, Passy. I think me and Tom, you were there as well, right? And we played it like solidly through the night when it came out. And
What, Brawl?
yeah,
Oh yeah, we played the hell out of that game.
yeah.
I think that's
Great
probably the most I've ever played a Smash Bros. Game, actually.
Yeah,
And the
same for me.
go-to when we had the character sort of, when you unlock a character to fight them, was like we normally do, is to hand the controller to you because you were most likely to win. And we still do that now, right? We still did that
when
with
you went. Go on.
What? Sorry, go on.
I was going to say that's when you went through your Pit phase, Sean. I remember you were
Oh,
outrageous with Pit.
He was overpowered, wasn't he?
He was mega overpowered on Brawl. He had so many counters and his ridiculous get-on ability is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I hijacked that.
Nah,
Yeah.
Brawl again. Like I said, Brawl, Smash Bros in general will get mentioned probably a lot when any sort of Nintendo kind of console comes up, and you just hope with the next one they just stop with the Fire Emblem characters for guests and actually do maybe stuff from quite obscure Nintendo games or just other ones that aren't from Fire Quest Emblem.
Yeah.
Because they just flooded the roster. I mean, people got was it the recent one? People have fair. I think it was fair. They got pretty angry with them.
For Ultimate.
Yeah.
Not just Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's way too many of them anyway. But there's some weird characters like what's his name from Minecraft. Minecraft Steve.
Steve.
Jesus.
Jesus.
What's that all about? And there's plenty of other good Nintendo characters they could.
So you free DLC,
Yeah.
or is it paid DLC?
I mean,
it's paid as well.
paid,
I think
isn't it?
each one
God,
each one individually is like a $5. So,
yeah, it's just there's too many of those ones when they've got fair enough. There was no Waluigi, and he's like one of the main big ones of Mario Party and stuff, like criminal, absolutely criminal.
I think that's one of the ones people wanted the most, and obviously didn't
Oh
get
yeah,
added.
people were pretty upset about that, which again, completely fair. So, well, what's next on your list then, Tatties?
So I didn't get any PlayStations whatsoever, so straight onto Xbox,
Not
the
one?
original. Nope. It was GameCube
Alright,
and
not
Xbox.
in PS2. Surprised.
No.
Alright.
So obviously Halo is one of the primary ones, but also Battlefront 2, and then also the GTA series, which was obviously Vice City, San Andreas, and I think it's number 4, which came out. I think they came out all on the original Xbox. And the last one between these I could decide was Rainbow Six Siege, because I spent hours on that game as well.
Oh, what, Vegas?
No,
do you mean?
it was just Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, just Rainbow Six 3. Okay.
That was good on Xbox.
The original. But I think out of all of
The
them,
original turn-based one.
we spent the most time on the GTA games.
Yeah, I mean that's not a surprise. GTA 3, and the Vice City ones were ones that I remember quite clearly. I mean, I didn't bother buying the remaster for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So the onslaught of issues that they've had with that is pretty hilarious. I mean, yeah. So
As also San Andreas was such a revolution when that came out.
Yeah, that was pretty big. That's original Xbox, is that? So what you got left? 360.
360. So I've got my 4 franchises, which I couldn't choose between. There's the Greed series, obviously Fable, Oblivion and Skyrim, and then Mass Effects. I cannot make a decision. I think if I go on playthroughs, it'd probably have to be Fable. I played that like so many different times. Whereas like Mass Effects, I don't think I ever completed more than once.
Which Fable?
Criminal.
Probably 2 and 1, the originals, and then 3 wasn't so much. But yeah.
I mean, yeah. Oh God, what was your second choice? You said for Xbox. For
Creed,
360?
Fables.
Creed. Yeah, I'm surprised we did not bring that up with the last our last conversation, because I went back to how the original Creed was, and that was really small and compact, and it was annoying because until you got like certain abilities where you couldn't like counter or throw, it was pretty tedious. But after that, the world was so compact and there's so much to do in it. I think if you went back, unfortunately now, I think if you go back and replay that, it definitely has shown its age. But I think that's what Creed needs to go back to, is those small hub areas.
But at the time,
with like a lot.
Think about
at the time, it was
good
amazing.
That was. Like, you
it
could,
was
like,
up there.
Go anywhere on the map.
The climbing.
The
whole like running, parkour, climb thing was in Creed.
Yeah.
Like just a complete next level. Even compared to like Prince of Persia and stuff like that.
That was the more like grounded Prince of Persia brought into Assassin's Creed. Like you weren't rule running, obviously, like you were in Prince of Persia. So I remember that being like that was like pretty high up with anticipation when that game. I still remember the trailer of like the bell tower and the execution cinematic trailer.
So good.
And he hide with the monks at the end of the cinematic. Yeah, it was a good shout, but. Pretty big heavyweights to choose from there. So I mean, I think I flip-flop from BioShock then back to and I think BioShock still would be my one for 360 thinking about it. But Oblivion, Skyrim, and I'm surprised you didn't put Call of Duty Modern Warfare in there.
Well, I sort of stayed away from them because I was just thinking, obviously I probably spent the most amount of time on Kart's Halo. And Gears, but I was just thinking more like single player. So like I actually spent a lot of my own time just sort of session. I think probably those series, and that carries on into the Xbox One as well. Yeah. So great franchises.
So I would say your Xbox One would be just those kind of same. Okay. What about most recently? What you playing? You play anything recent? Like. When you're not busy?
No, not really. I'm just multiplayer now. It's just constant multiplayer. So
about that Riders Republic, he said you're enjoying that quite a bit.
That is good. So obviously they brought out Steep originally, and it's a massive improvement on that. Just feel everything feels a bit more realistic. Where Steep was a bit more like that
arcadey.
I
was thinking
it's good.
I was like, I miss the SSX games though. They were a good sort of. They came out when a load of those other ones came out with obviously the Tony Hawk ones, but then when sports kind of arcadey sports games were quite big, and now they seem to have really become quite niche and rarely made, I guess, or reserved for indie sort of developers, which is a shame. But
it's really fun. I'd definitely recommend it, but maybe wait till it's like I got it for half price, but it would be really fun.
I was just about to say it's not Game Pass then.
No, it's not Game Pass.
It's Ubisoft, isn't it?
Scum.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it from me.
Right. Okay, okie dokie. Passy, you got some in mind, matey?
Yeah, so the first ever console I played was the SNES. Older brother had it. I think. God, how old was I? I think I was like probably two or three when I was bopping along in my high chair to Donkey Kong Country. So that would be my one for the SNES. I can remember playing that. Loving it.
That is old.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, I say playing it. I probably wasn't even controlling it properly.
Smashing buttons,
You remember
smashing it against your table.
Yeah. N64. I've gone with Pokemon Stadium / Snap.
Oh, yeah.
I thought of that.
That was correct me if I'm wrong. That was the brawler, wasn't it? Pokemon Stadium. Or not? Or was that? It was the proper turn-based.
It was turn-based, but it was like sort of the first time it'd been 3D. And Pokemon weren't just little sprites, like 8-bit sprites or whatever. They were actually like 3D models. Yeah. So I loved that.
Oh yeah.
And you could plug the game back in.
Gems you forget.
You could plug the actual Pokemon game in the back of the controller.
I'm
the
pretty
Game
sure
Boy cartridge.
That's it.
I'm pretty sure you could hook it up so that you could have your Pokemon.
Your Pokemon, yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
Game Boy
Some
on
classics.
that,
Yeah. Oh, that was another gem.
Yeah, do love me Pokemon. Probably Donkey Kong 64 as an honorary mention as well.
Yeah, DK.
Because I remember that being one of the first games I completed by myself. Yeah. Would have gone with Ocarina of Time, but then who wouldn't?
Everyone, I think everyone kind of mentioned that last podcast. Yeah, again, another one that is just like if you've played N64, you've played Ocarina of Time
for sure,
and said probably it's the best one ever. So,
but then to follow that up with Majora's Mask as well, which was
I enjoyed it. I never completed it.
So unique, If you haven't
played it,
that's coming coming to Switch.
It was
soon,
all based on time limit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See, that kind of puts me off.
Oh yeah, I can understand that as well. I would get annoyed. I'd be way too stressed if I was didn't have enough time and having to start all over again.
I think you get used to it, right? It's like a lot of games do that now, but you know some of the stuff you retain, like the sort of weapons and items that you retain, and obviously there's the knowledge there as well. You get more. It's like playing a Hitman game. You get more efficient in navigating the world and understanding, where you need to go. So there's it's really different from any other Zelda in that sense, and it's often sort of overshadowed by Ocarina of Time, but
of course. I mean, you can't help but follow that from that. Any game after Ocarina of Time is literally going to be the argument of, well, it wasn't as good as Ocarina of Time. So I think it was it's always the middle child of any sort of Zelda game that's brought up. Because what would you say it's from best if you're talking that kind of time period? Although I guess Link Between Worlds is the one people go on about as one of the best ones, don't they? Was it a Link to the Past?
Link to the Past.
That's the one. So it's like Ocarina of Time is the eldest, and then the youngest is a Link to the Past, and then the middle child is Majora's Mask.
Was that SNES Link to the Past then?
Yes.
It's one of the early ones for sure.
It was
I know that they've redone it.
Top down one, I think it was SNES. Yeah.
I can't remember if Brett had that or not. I can remember him opening Ocarina of Time on Boxing Day because it was a Christmas present. And cracked it open early and started it. Such a vivid memory. That music.
I remember. There's such so many memories around it. I remember the first time I played it was on GameCube, but I had no memory card, so I used to start the game again because I couldn't save the game.
Oh my God.
And I played through because I think it was my first console as well, GameCube was. So I kind of and once I'd purchased that, my mum thought, he'll be fine for the next 6 months, but I was begging for a memory card so I could get through, literally the first bit, because I used to play the first 20 minutes over and over again. So to discover there's a whole other world beyond the forest bit was Oh no,
Yeah,
revelations.
damn.
Ridiculous.
I never had the expansion pack for Majora's Mask, so it just sat there staring at me for about 10 years.
Yeah.
What did you
special
need
ship.
something else to
You
play it?
need, you need the
expansion
expansion
ship.
pack.
I mean, Ocarina had the master levels, which is, you could argue, was a completely different game because all the dungeons were like harder, but also changed. I remember when I think it was when you completed that the first time round, you got the master quest, and the same with
That was
Majora's
on the
Mask. I'm
GameCube
pretty
version,
sure.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was it?
I
Yeah.
think
I
it
thought
was
it was
the
on the
later
gold
versions, not the
cartridges.
original one.
Oh, okay.
But they usually do that if they're re-releasing it, they want to add something
I've
to it,
been
right?
thinking, yeah.
Because when I bought
Yeah,
Wind
okay.
Waker in GameCube, it was that in the gold case. It had
Yes.
Ocarina of Time
Yeah.
and Master Quest on a second disc.
Okay, that's probably what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Yeah, you may be right there.
What a game as well,
Well-
Wind Waker. Yeah, that was one of
Yeah.
your
Oh, well,
mentions.
we
was,
mentioned that,
That was
yeah.
George's, yeah.
We definitely mentioned that last time, and just how, like, I think I said how that is one of those games that cannot age due to its art style. Like, it could come out today and be like, someone, I guess, who's never played Zelda, I think you could probably try and convince them, like, yeah, this came out this year, and they go, oh yeah, I guess I could accept that, like, that being true. So yeah, ageless. Yeah, big old tangent with N64. What's next on your list, JP?
So GameCube, I put Super Smash Bros. Melee, because that's probably the game I spent the most amount of time on the GameCube. Just remember sitting in the training mode on the Star Fox ship for literally hours and hours. Because you could, like, set the difficulty on all the bots and spawn all the weapons and everything, and just be on it for hours, literally desperate to try and beat Brett.
That explains a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, that's probably why I eventually got fairly decent at it over the years. What else for GameCube? I did have another one. Mario Kart Double Dash, was it, on the GameCube? Where there's two of them on the same one. That was really good. Yeah, that's it for the GameCube. Yeah, there's too many to mention, really. For Wii, there's a very random one. I think it's Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Really random one.
Jesus.
But
Mouthful.
obviously,
Say
I
that
love Dragon
5
Ball.
times faster.
I can't. Obviously, I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, and that was sort of the first Dragon Ball game I ever played. So, that's in there. Then I got PS2. I think. Oh God, I can't remember how old I was.
That's weird to think everyone had a PS2 except for Tatters. That is really bizarre.
I didn't have one either. I just had the
okay.
GameCube,
All right. I'll take it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shadow of the Colossus. Me for that one.
Yeah,
it's a
what game?
great game. Really, really good. And the FIFAs, and it pains me to say now, but used to spend a lot of time.
We'll get
on
there.
FIFA.
Don't you worry. We'll get there with that topic. Don't you worry.
And I never had an original Xbox, but I did play the original Fable on the 360, so that would be my original Xbox game. So I love the Fable series very much.
Of course, you're dying to get new news and a new one. I know that.
Chicken Chaser, I believe.
One of the original Lionhead producers has just joined the Playground team, I think, developing a new Fable game. So that's good.
Hope endures.
I think one of the guys who worked in Witcher 3 is working on it as well. Something to do with, like, the combat or something. But again, I don't know how reliable these rumours are.
Well, yeah, and of course the article I shared the other day, some ex-CD Projekt Red people who were the Witcher 3 directors just made their own studio, Wolf Head or something it's called.
Okay.
All the stuff I put in the description, but yeah, they've gone off and made their own new studio, so they're going to do dark fantasy adventures, so that'd be pretty interesting to see what they pump out. So, yes. So you got two, I guess, more Xbox One,
Yeah,
Xbox
360.
or 360 even. Yeah.
I can't remember if anyone else said it, but Halo 3 for me will always be my
Oh
favourite
yeah,
360 game.
that was
Hands
mentioned.
down.
I mean, as we mentioned, Ultramarine, rest in peace. He was a beast at Halo 3. We definitely mentioned with Ollie that that's kind of how we all met. All these guys here I met literally through 360 days, Halo 3. You'd get a bunch of us together with Ollie and some other people that aren't around anymore. But it literally was you'd sprint home from school, get on Halo 3, and it'd be like big team battles and crazy Forge maps. We mentioned last time that you made like a Helm's Deep one in Forge.
Yeah, I used to love tinkering on Forge. That was one of my favourite things to do.
And it was like specifically infection map, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much all my maps are infection maps, I think, apart from maybe one or two.
Because it's so easy.
Yeah, I used to love going on Forge.
I remember the one where.
Oh yeah, when the zombie was super slow but really powerful. And
wasn't it throwing debris down the hallway?
Yeah,
I think Sean mentioned it. Yeah.
Stuff.
You had miniguns, didn't you? In the tunnel trying to shoot it.
It was such a stupid game mode though, because he couldn't be stopped basically. It was more or less impossible to kill the zombie unless you assassinated him. It'd just be about 3 miniguns, everyone pinging nades at him, and it'd just be slowly getting closer and closer.
She was at 1,000%.
Yeah, and then had the opposite on Sand Trap, where I pimped the elephant out. And there was really quick. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was good. So yeah, Halo 3 will always be my favourite 360 game. I think it's the reason I got a 360, to be honest, and because of Fable after playing that. Xbox One has to be Witcher 3. It's probably the best RPG I've ever played, I think.
Agreed.
Storytelling's fantastic.
Agreed.
Combat's simple but fun. The world is real. And it's not too big, I don't think. I struggle with open world games these days. So that's one of the reasons I stopped playing Red Dead. It's just too much.
So that is where the original podcast cut out. But now I'm enjoyed by one. Unfortunately, we've lost Tatters and we have gained Benjamin in his place.
Hello.
So you'll just be given an extra long podcast, this one. It's probably going to push about 2 hours. But anyway.
Lucky you.
Passy, you were for 30 viewers. It's very, very lucky. Passy, you literally are talking about The Witcher as the podcast cut. So why is Witcher your game of the gen? Why do you like it so much?
That was Xbox One, wasn't it?
It was Xbox One. Yes.
I just think it's the best RPG I've ever played. Generally, the stories.
Yeah, I say story, characters. I say every side quest is almost as well written as the main story. Like, I don't know about you, but I was never bored of doing the side missions.
The voice acting in it is very good as well. What was it I played recently? I tried playing Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, the remake of that.
Oh no!
And the voice acting is just so rope here, so it almost makes it unplayable. The open world in Witcher is good. It's big but not too big. I think that's the last one. That's something that put me off Red Dead and some of the Creed games. I just found myself not knowing what to do half the time.
Oh my god.
Red Dead is humongous, but I get why it's so so beloved.
I enjoyed it, but I just found myself not knowing what to do. And I think with Witcher, with all the side quests and monster hunts and everything you got, you're never like sort of stuck as what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. You've always got something to do.
Yes.
And the main story is fantastic.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. And the DLC as well. That has got probably one of the best DLC endings, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
That I've ever played. A nice kind of almost send off for Geralt. But if they were to, I don't know. I'd be a little bit. If they did a a new Witcher game and he was the main character. I like to see a new one to be your own character. You build your own Witcher. That's pre kind of Witcher.
I think they're done with Geralt's storyline now.
I hope so. He's earned
it seems that way.
Yeah.
I think they've kind of gone as far as they can now.
Yeah, but, and obviously the next gen update is coming pretty soon, so that is going to be
pushed back twice now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Have we got a date on that yet?
No, no dates. I think it is literally say they're yet to announce anything like gameplay, like before and afters. I haven't seen anything unless anyone else has. Future me in the edit can maybe put something in if there's anything since, but I doubt it. So no, I'll be straight on that as soon as that's coming, because that is a amazing game. So, and then I guess, Passy, whatever you're playing recently, obviously we did talk about a hefty chunk of Cyberpunk last time before it was lost to the ether. Any further kind of, or I guess anything else?
I've actually kind of had the same problem with that with Red Dead.
Oh right,
Not the fact that it's too big, but I don't know. I just got bored of it really easily.
Okay.
I was really enjoying it, but I don't know. I just kind of ran out of steam with it.
Or was it okay?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest.
Is anyone like George? Yeah, yep. Georgie, you've been playing, haven't you? So
That's right.
What do you think?
I enjoy it. I like games that feel like they know who their audience is and they build it for them. Like, I've always respected the way Rockstar are prepared to make sort of adult games rather than sort of so bland vanilla games that you get elsewhere, where they do cover darker themes and things like that. So it feels like a game that's more geared towards like a slightly older gamer. So it's not really kiddie or anything. It's like a proper, like, it reminds me of sort of Altered Carbon Series 1.
Yeah, I always say Blade Runner, like, it is like
Blade Runner, absolutely.
Carbon
Altered
kind of
Carbon's
thing.
Inspired by Blade Runner, so it just really, really like it. It's good. The gameplay's solid. I like the way you do your character stuff. I've had a couple of crashes though, which have put me off a little bit.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
Not just because the steering is terrible. I'm joking. I mean, I've actually the game's crashed. It's steering.
Well, I don't know if every car's like it, but the first car you get is almost uncontrollable.
It's true.
It's the slightest tap to the left or right, and that's that.
So GTA 4 had really tough driving like that, if you remember.
Oh, that was dreadful. Really bad.
That, and I remember flying helicopters was really difficult as well.
Did you get that? Did you get that bug after a certain mission, where your like cyberware, whatever it's called, is like bugging out, and you've got like this jittery blue stuff on the screen?
No, I didn't know.
That was annoying. I had to do a whole mission with it like it. So my controller was vibrating and the screen was jittering.
Oh god. No, I just had a few hard crashes, but yeah, I enjoy the setting. Okay. I've really enjoyed the story so far as well. I've just stopped playing it the past few days because I've really been gaming. So I always find with an RPG you have to keep up the momentum, and if you don't play it for like longer than a week, you feel like you don't know where you were and just like lost all the momentum. So whenever I play an RPG, I like to play it at least once or twice a week. Otherwise, I just come back to it later. And I'm guilty of starting RPGs over and over again and never finishing them.
Anyone else feel like running?
You're not.
Exactly.
You're not. To be honest, you're in the statistics. Like there is like the statistics of not only like 6% of people ever kind of complete any sort of game. Like, So
really.
It was that stat like quite a few years ago now, but I'll put it in the description if I find it.
Yeah.
But it was something like that 6-7% of gamers are the ones that complete them, like from start.
I would say
I imagine
that
that's probably even low. So I was
Yeah,
going to say, I imagine that's probably even lower Game Pass now, surely.
Yeah, probably now it is probably even lower. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Just in general, I think people's attention spans have gone down, right? Like, I mean, there's a wider conversation you can have about attention spans today compared to what they were like, like 20 years ago. But I know when we were younger, we used to get like a game maybe once a month, or maybe not even that, maybe once every few months.
Yeah.
3-4 months.
Yeah, and you
Once
just
a
play
quarter.
that solidly, right? You wouldn't have a choice.
It's like Ocarina of Time. You actually finished Ocarina of Time themselves. I
never finished it myself.
But I never finished it myself, actually. I watched somebody else play through.
Same.
Yeah, I got really
play through it.
I've always been really I've somehow what is it, the Mandela effect? I've almost convinced myself that there was in Ocarina of Time there was a whether I mentioned this before, I don't know. I convinced myself there was a boss battle with Ganon, and he's humongous and got Triforces on the back of his hands.
Yeah.
That's an Ocarina of Time, isn't it?
Yeah, after you defeat Ganondorf. Spoilers.
When he turns into pig. What do you mean when he turns into pig Ganon?
Yeah.
Really? Is it after that, or is it?
That's the very final fight of the game.
That's the final boss of the game. You hit him with a mallet and stuff.
You defeat him, and then you escape the tower as it's crumbling, and then when you finish that bit, you think he's dead, but then he appears from the rubble.
Okay, right. I'm not going mental then. Okay, yeah. So that that'd be yes then, because I always got confused. People said when the Gandalf battle happens, it's like I swear there's a massive. He's massive and he's got the Triforces on the back of his
I remember
hand,
that being one of the easier fights the first time you fight him. You just have to bat the magic back in with your sword.
The mirrors. Yeah, that mirror one. Yeah.
Harder bosses in that game than that.
Yeah. No, I wasn't going mental then, because I always thought that's. I swear it's a big old version of Ganon. So cool. Yeah. Well, Cyberpunk. I'm literally waiting now until they release all the stuff, all the free DLCs out, all the bug fixes are done. Pretty much they've got to a point where they say, right, we are done with it, so I can play the vision that they had for that game when they first announced it. I just think waiting on that game is just beneficial. There's honestly no rush, and like I say, when Witcher comes out next gen, that's all I'm going to be playing. So CD Projekt Red game, Cyberpunk can sit on the back burner for a good while. I don't know if everyone else kind of has that same mindset.
I find that it's the same mentality as when a goal is scored in football now, and you're almost waiting for them to say that it's not a goal. I think there's so much hype for games and it never ever lives up to it. Or they release it and there's so many bugs within the first couple of weeks that it's almost not worth paying your pre-order charge for it. So I've lost a lot of love for it in that way. Yeah,
I think the reason why Cyberpunk just crashed and burned on launch so badly is because they kept saying we're releasing when it's ready, and then obviously it just didn't do that. They basically the management was horrible apparently behind the scenes, crunch and all that stuff. So that's
I think it's because they didn't even have a foundation to build off as well.
No.
They've never made a first-person game before with an open world like that. I'm not even sure. It might be the same engine as Witcher, but it just feels completely different.
No, I don't think it is.
Which makes it very hard for a studio that's never done that before to nail it first time off the bat. So they should have given themselves a lot longer to optimize, because it's not like they're just using Unreal and they've built a bunch of games on it already and they just need to really skin it and do all the animations and stuff. They had to sort all the physics out and everything like that. It's
difficult. I mean, it is difficult, but it just seems like the push for the investors and the important ones. They're the ones that want the games out now. Everyone else is kind of secondary. That's what annoys me the most about kind of the modern kind of gaming, as it were.
Well, me and Sean are vowed not to buy games anymore. There are a few exceptions, but
well, bloody not surprised. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, Game Pass, all the way. Guardians of the Galaxy, I bought my PAR in December, and it's literally came out.
Yeah.
Anyone who hasn't picked that up on Game Pass, bloody do it. It's an absolute steal.
Was it good?
Yeah,
it's very
it's
good.
really good. Yeah, it's very much like I put it on my social. It's almost like Guardians 1.5 because the characters are very, very closely they're almost in the same vein as the MCU, like how they're portrayed.
Okay.
Like Bradley Cooper's Rocket is almost his personality is almost like the exact same one that's in that game. Groot just says, "I am Groot," and Peter Quill's is a bit jarring to get used to his voice actor, but you kind of get used to it after a little bit. It is really weird to not hear Chris Pratt or not hear Dave Bautista as Drax, or visually see them differently. But you can unlock their MCU costumes in the game. But no, it's an absolute it's a very much feels like an apology for the Avengers game, and Square just went
Is that actually that bad? I've never played it.
It won't be as bad now, but on launch it was absolutely terrible.
I think it was. It kind of went into that. What is it? The service, games as a service, wasn't it? Where you're kind of like a Destiny style thing, where you're not. You pay for the game, but it's like a more long-term thing. But it just ended up being really repetitive and
I find
grindy.
it weird when they sort of buy the rights to these things. They don't actually buy the rights to the likeness of the characters. It just seems so odd. Like, why not just spend the extra money and just have the actual...
I guess, I agree, but I guess you then got to work out contracts for the actual people to come in and do the voice acting. But there's a way. If you chuck a load of money at them, then they're going to come in and do it, I'm sure. I mean, if you remember the Rings games, Return of the King, Two Towers, that they actually brought Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, etc., to come in and do the voice lines.
Yeah,
because it was within their contract with I think New Line. So yeah. But sorry, Percy, what are you going to say, matey?
I have no idea. What did I say?
I don't know. You were going to go, but that's...
Oh, no, I'd say, I'd argue their characters in their own right, so they don't need to have the likeness of the movie versions of them.
Yeah, that's another...
True.
I think it's as long as they're portrayed in a decent way, then it's alright.
Yeah. But no,
But it's not like they... just like take the comic book outfit or whatever. They always try and almost replicate the movie one, but without encroaching on the...
Yeah, that's true.
And they're almost trying to do it without spending the money. I wouldn't mind if they just sort of did a sort of reinterpreted version, but I just think it's weird.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
It's just a case of, I think they want it to be likeness enough that people that have seen the films would go buy the game, but not spend the money on actually doing it. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very corporate. I think that is a fair assumption or analysis there. But yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy game, definitely worth a download. As soon as you start it, you're like very much like, wow, this is inspired by MCU. Guardians, definitely. To the point where you're like you're young Peter Quill, like on the opening. So
that's cool. Really a spoiler.
But yeah, definitely get and download. But yeah, going back to your going off on that tangent. Yeah, I don't know. You just got to be really careful nowadays buying games, because anything now it seems can come to Game Pass. So
did you see Phil Spencer came out and basically said that he thinks that they're underperforming in terms of what they're releasing on Game Pass, and thinks that they're more likely to release bigger titles to keep people interested?
Well, if they're just talking about not specifically Xbox exclusives, then interesting, because obviously everything that's coming, that's obviously Microsoft owned, is coming to Game Pass day one. But everything else, I mean, Red Dead was in there for 6 months or something. So
no, that one was that's the shortest I've seen. It's about 3 months
or something. Yeah. So I mean, I guess he could say that, and it's like a month or two, and then they maybe offer players it at half the price, or say, there you go, there's a taster, that's what the game's like, pay if you want to, if you think your money's worth it, or don't, that's fine. So I mean, for some reason, I was convinced Elden Ring was coming to Game Pass, but I was completely wrong in that aspect. We'll talk about that in a bit, but Game Pass is an absolute gem as it were.
The thing is, there's nothing like it, is there? Nothing measures against it.
No, Microsoft were first in the door, and now everyone else is playing catch up. I know Nintendo's got something going, and PlayStation are working up something. If not, they've got something.
They've got PlayStation now, but it's not very good. But they're gonna have
to.
They're gonna revamp it completely. But
yeah,
what does Nintendo have?
Nothing.
I can't.
I thought you meant like the old games that you can play, like the SNES, NES, and N64.
Yeah, N64.
I thought that was
games on there. I'd be super up for it though.
N64's been added.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Is it part of their shop? I mean, I thought their subscription, how they get you hooked is each month they give you like an N64 game, like ones that a bit like Games for Gold. I thought Nintendo had that as part of their like subscription service. Which they're going to add to the.
It's going to be like I think it's you pay like a yearly thing and you get access to all of them like you do with the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah, I think you just need to have a Switch Online account and then get access to it. But like I looked at the N64 games that were on that. There's not a lot, not as many as
it's about 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's really not a lot. And there was no really like decent titles that made me want to jump in.
Game Boy games. I thought you had all the Pokemon's on backwards compatibility. I just don't get why they don't do it. They sort of drip feed it so slowly.
Nintendo did their own thing. They're so weird. They're so backwards still with like streaming and even stuff on like YouTube. If you're not a certified Nintendo like streamer or like associated with them, they literally block any sort of revenue that's going to like something that's completely transformative and like.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're so apparently it's Japan. It's the Japanese based side that's really strict, and the Nintendo of America is apparently a lot more relaxed. And they're like,
it's like you can't really voice chat through the app at the moment because they're worried about like privacy and young kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But you can only voice chat through the app, can't you? You can't do it through the console.
Yeah. That's always been the case.
They're so backwards, but
I don't understand. How is it even in their interest to do that? To stop kind of a lot of streamers from actually playing their game?
Yeah, they want a family-friendly kind of facing company, don't they? They don't want any sort of
I suppose
bad kind of. I mean, they just remastered Wii Sports. Was it I saw recently?
Yeah,
that's an entirely new game.
Or was it new game?
Yeah,
is it crazy? I mean, that's definitely going to get all the Wii sales, I reckon, back on maybe Switches. They're going to be like sold out again. Like there was a massive time where Switches were just sold out. I think start of pandemic, 100%. But that's definitely going to be more of an influx of people buying them. That's for sure.
Did you hear the news that they delayed Advance Wars because of the conflict in Ukraine?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they were. Obviously, they're very cautious with what they put out.
Well, I guess most companies will be.
Yeah, because I was wondering whether the game, that Russian game that is coming to Game Pass in the end of the year, I'm wondering whether that would be affected.
Stalker?
No, well, yeah, Stalker's one of them. That was April.
I think that's a Ukrainian. Is it a Ukrainian company? I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, I think it is.
Because Metro Exodus, even though that's set in Russia, that's a Ukrainian games company that made that, I think. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and obviously COD's been delayed another year, so I wonder if that's maybe if they're thinking, let's delay our war shooter because of recent events. Maybe it's just a bit too real.
Wait, when did COD get delayed?
I think wasn't that because of?
Or they just a break. They need a year's break to get a decent storyline. But I wouldn't be surprised if the factor was, maybe we shouldn't announce anything Call of Duty now.
What was Rainbow Six's zombie game called? It was originally called Quarantine or something. They had to rename it.
Yeah, they renamed it because of COVID. Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's called Yeah, it was called like Quarantine, and now it's called like Extraction or something. Hazard, I don't know. I couldn't give two.
When's that coming out?
It's out.
It's out.
It's
on
already?
game. It's on game.
Oh my god!
It is. That it is, and it's just.
Is it terrible?
It's no, apparently it's not terrible. It's Rainbow Six Siege, but it's just got this zombie Left 4 Dead kind of thing. It's so weird. It's so weird to me. It's like one season they had like a weird kind of infection zombie mode, and that's like sprouted into a whole like game, and it's just really bizarre. It's like what?
I hadn't heard about it. It was out already. Did
you tried it?
No, I haven't tried it, but I just thought I've got Siege. Like I don't get this. Like it's like a game mode, and it's a whole separate game, and it's just like what? Okay.
They seem to have quite a loyal fan base, though. So is it not their sort of trying to give back for that? Year six of Rainbow Six Siege. Incredible.
Yeah, they're still going strong. It's I reckon I'll get the Steam numbers again, put them in the description, or maybe flash on the screen. But I reckon they got still a bit of a high concurrent player list. I mean, I can quickly have a look now. You know what?
That's amazing.
Live, but it's still going strong. They've got new operators still coming, and it's still it's still kicking, and they have a lot of Halo. They have these tournaments, and they're still going. So as of an hour ago, on Steam, 51,000 players are still playing Siege.
That's absolutely amazing.
24-hour peak of 69,000. So yeah, it's still well alive, compared to something like Battlefield 2040, whatever it was, dead and gone. They're still trying to salvage that game, but just drop it and just. I think that EA might have killed Battlefield. The gameplay, first initial gameplay trailer got me so pumped. I remember you, Ollie, were looking forward to it as well, and then remember just playing the beta, and you were like. You played like a game before I jumped on.
Yeah.
Like, mate, it's absolutely fucked.
Just trash. Yeah, it was terrible. It was shocking. You do. I know there's a massive culture of releasing games and kind of fixing them later through various updates. But you know, who looks at a game and decides, yeah, you know what, let's release this and charge 60 quid for it. You know.
Yeah.
Old man, I don't.
But just from a business perspective, surely they could just look at that and they know it's going to be a flop. So what are they doing? I mean, it's EA. They're not like they're desperate for money, right?
No. Problem is, it's almost like what for some films and franchises do. They got this massive player base. They don't really not really informative of how the game's going to release. So you've already got this massive amount of people eager for the next release, and then they've already bought and basically handed over their money. And then that's why obviously refund policies and stuff have changed more recently because of Cyberpunk, because of Battlefield, and some other things. But I reckon they're just like, they got this franchise, they got the money. Look, this game's done really well. Look at our sales figures, and like I guess that's all just like, it's just investors, mate. It's the investors that are pleasing, not customers. They don't care about really the customers. They're not your friends. As corporations are not your friend. And that's very, very true. So it's only small indie people that kind of seem to put the effort in, and God knows. And they've been slapped on the wrist now, and you kind of hope that maybe they make more of an effort next time. But yeah, it is it's so common now of the send it out, fix it later, and it's just so annoying.
But I mean, a lot of people are talking about this, but it's like it's killing the kind of AAA game market. You know, these big releases, they're all just falling now. I know we spoke around this in the last podcast. The only ones that seem to be doing it right at the moment are indie game developers. There's been quite a few indie games that I played, and a really smooth, polished product for kind of the vast majority of the ones I played.
Yeah. I mean, that all the veteran people from studios are going off and making their own studios because I think they just don't like the culture. Like, for example, I think I mentioned it, CD Projekt Red's one of an ex-Witcher head, Witcher 3 head, is gone off and created his own studio. So stuff like that, and so many people are doing it. So it seems to be the only way. And I guess. Again, Elden Ring is a prime example of a game kind of coming out of nowhere, even though it is from software, but that has literally taken the whole kind of the scene by storm, as it were. That's like top selling game at the moment, but again we'll get back to that. But Passy, what have you been, I guess, to round it off, have you played anything recently? I guess it's been Cyberpunk. For God knows why you're playing Mountain Warblade recently. I don't know.
Mountain Blade Warband.
Whatever. I don't know. We got Chivalry. I don't know why you're playing that. So, but
I don't really know either, to be honest.
yeah, no. But get Guardians.
To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and I guess we're so I guess we'll start with Tatters did his list before he went, and again it was all heard in the last section, was good. So Benny, what have you got for us with your games per gen?
Hello sir, where are we starting? Talk me through it.
Start from the beginning, my friend. So N64, PlayStation 1, whatever you want to do first, and go from there.
First ever game that I have any sort of recollection, remember playing, and actually when I say playing, I mean playing, not just bashing a controller button and sort of watching something on the screen happen, was Super Mario 64.
Of course.
N64.
Great game.
Probably one of the most ultimate classics. Yeah. That was the first time I actually understood a game and the sort of premise behind it. And I mean, that still hits now. That hits every nostalgia button from here to Timbuktu.
Well, just music. Gameplay, obviously first open world Mario, or like open world, sorry, 3D I should say. Yeah, great, of course, great choice.
That was amazing. I was trying to think back to actual consoles that I had.
Did you have a PlayStation? Were you the same as Shawnee and Tatters, where you didn't get a PlayStation and you just went straight to Xbox?
No, I had PlayStation. I had 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Best PS1 game I can think was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Oh yeah, classic. Yeah,
that was
music.
Yeah, I think I was probably going for a stage there where I had about 9 inches of hair, so that was a vibe back then.
Long locks. Yeah.
But there was just I tried the skate games since then. I even tried the remaster, and I don't know whether it was just a game that worked at the time, but nothing has hit quite the same.
It might trigger Ollie, but I think it was games of the time for me. Even though if I saw Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 on sale, I'd probably grab it. But I played it with the skate games, and it doesn't really tickle my fancy. But I know that you, Ollie, you've been big into that and stuff.
I love Tony Hawk's, and I think it kind of lost its way after American Wasteland, but I think the skate games have been fantastic. I think Skate 1 was good. Skate 2, and I really enjoyed Skate 3. I thought they were fantastic games. I think Skate 3 done it really, really well. I can't say a bad thing about Skate 3, to be fair. I still play it to this day quite regularly.
I think it's just maybe a bit too robust for me, to be honest.
We're just old men now, so we don't have the punk rock kind of scene anymore. Early teenagers, etc.
See, Ben, I remember you playing some sort of Rayman game on N64.
Oh, see, that was, again, you talk about 3D, I'm sure I'm right in saying it was actually 3D.
Yeah, Rayman 3D, is that
Great
the name?
Escape,
yeah.
Was it? That was the one I remember being 3D.
That was absolutely incredible game. Again, it was games where you can start to build the difficulty on it and actually started to understand them. I think that was, Rayman's got to be up there. And Lila Wars, if anybody played that, Star Fox.
Yeah, Fox, great game.
Oh, that was...
One level was literally Independence Day, if I recall.
Yeah.
That was I remember that being probably the first movie kind of reference in a game. Was the big on Mothership, and I was like, this is pretty much Independence Day. What's going on?
Well, the thing is as well, for that sort of game, because I remember you could play through in different ways to get to the end boss. If you played certain levels a certain way, you actually took a different route through the planets. And back then, where you couldn't just Google everything or YouTube watch just all the alternative endings to things, that was quite a big deal.
If you didn't do something in the right order, you didn't get the wolf
Exactly.
That's right.
I think in the first level, I could, correct me if I'm wrong, near the end boss fight, you can do a backflip and go through the waterfall, and it sends you
like
through a different level.
And if you don't say, you could not say Falcon as well, I think, as well.
Yes. Yeah. See? But you didn't have this thing of you could literally watch it like you'd watch it on YouTube in 10 minutes and then you'd never feel the need to do it.
That's right.
Guardians has that to quickly go back to kind of that kind of player choice or game consequences or different story paths. Guardians of the Galaxy has that where you choose specific dialogue options and certain stuff happens, and I didn't realise that, so that's another reason to kind of intrigue people if
I'll definitely get
tickles. So yeah, cool. And what's next then, matey, on the old consoles? PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 2, I might be wrong in saying this because I was thinking back, but San Andreas go on the PS2?
Yeah.
Certainly was.
All of them did up to, San Andreas was the last one, was it?
Yeah, well they did the remakes, but yeah.
I think PS2 San Andreas was the first time I can recall playing a game where I wasn't actually bothered that much about progressing. I would just go around, you'd bulk your guy up at the gym and then take him to the fast foods and just make him really fat. You'd just go on a bit of a rampage, and actually like the customization sort of options in there, although they probably look back on it as quite basic now. But that was the first time I played a game and I actually thought, yeah, there's more to it than just sort of going from A to B.
Yeah, there's a lot of player kind of choices. As far as your athletic fat or skills as well, isn't there? Like you can go to gun ranges and increase your
exactly.
Yeah. So that was definitely the basis. And after that, GTA 4 obviously it propelled it, and then pointless body activities, but bowling and etc.
Nico, we need to go bowling.
Let's go bowling. Yeah. Shut up.
I never actually played GTA 4.
Yeah, it was alright.
It's not too bad.
It was.
I don't know if I'd ever go back to it. I don't have that same nostalgia.
I think it gets quite a bit of hate, to be fair. It's definitely. I think it's probably seen as like the maybe the worst installment or people's least favourite one.
Ollie, didn't you say that the DLC on that is
phenomenal? Like the Ballad of Gay Tony was great.
Yeah,
that's what GTA 4 should have been from the start, I think.
Was it biker gang thing?
Yeah, that was the Lost and the Damned, I think.
Damned,
I think that was it.
Yeah,
that was good, but not as good as Ballad of Gay Tony.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, San Andreas, what have we got next?
I haven't written them all in order, you see, so I'm trying to work out how old these are. If we're going to throw it right back, you either were a Pokemon Blue or a Pokemon Red kind of guy.
Blue
all the way for me.
I want to say yellow.
Oh
yeah, it came later.
I think, I think yellow just comes out straight. I don't think I had red or blue.
Yeah. Really?
I
never had one of the original.
No, I just remember having the Pikachu cartridge, which was yellow.
Whoa, what were you doing when you were like 5 years old?
I was probably playing SNES or anything, or Sega Genesis. That's my pa got. He got all the consoles. So yeah, Game Boy came a lot kind of later, as it were. I remember one Terminator game on the GameCube, and it was so hard because it just there was one like pylon mission where my young brain couldn't comprehend what I had to do, and it was like you got to shoot the pylons in a certain height order. So that's the point where I hit the wall. And I think, I'm not even kidding, I think that was like the second or third level in, and then that was it. I was done with the game because you just fail. It's like I don't know what to do. So Game Boy came a lot later, clearly a lot later for me. So yeah. What you got next, Benny?
Wow. I thought I had to give it a mention. I never actually owned a GameCube. Controversial. But Smash Bros. Melee, probably... I know we still have to meet up and play.
WWE.
Oh, wow.
No, actually, do you know, if you've got a fair point there. I was scratching my brain
We
earlier
spent
trying
a
to think
lot
of
of time
PS2
on that.
games, and SmackDown: Here Comes the Pain on
Here
PS2.
Comes
I think
Pain,
is
Know
still
Your Role as well.
probably the best wrestling game they ever made.
Yeah.
Although I have heard a lot of hype for this 2K22.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know if that was people trolling or.
I think people trolling. They've been so bad recently with bugs and everything. Like,
I know the previous
think it might
one
be
was.
troll.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
I used to really enjoy the wrestling games.
Oh yeah,
It's good
I think
massively.
I think like I don't know if it echoes everyone else's thoughts. Is a bit like the skating. I kind of grew out of wrestling games. Like if it's on Game Pass, then I would definitely grab it up, but I wouldn't be spending money on it. Per that.
I think I don't know. I think they changed a lot. There was like a little period on the PS2 maybe where they were just great. Where you had like SmackDown versus Raw.
2008, mate.
Then I think there was still a good one where there was ECW was involved.
I remember Day of Reckoning. It had like this storyline where you joined the what was the faction called that Undertaker was part of? Like the Dark Ministry of Darkness or something, is it?
Oh yeah.
Sounds
you
familiar.
joined D-Generation X or Ministry of Darkness or whatever, and then they betrayed you and beat you up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It was like a storyline with like voice actor stuff.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I could taste the salt and vinegar chipsticks as you were saying that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I remember there was going back to N64. There was No Mercy as well.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time tables, ladders, and chairs were introduced.
There's so many, I can't remember them all.
Yeah, there was a period I think of about 4 years where they were just great games. Like they had the physics down, the storylines were cool.
Because
loads of maps, loads of game modes and customization. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Attitude Era is still the best time for wrestling. Even they say it, like, statistic-wise, Attitude Era was when it was at its like height.
Yeah.
There was like so much merchandise. I mean, I had like Stone Cold T-shirts, The Rock.
Yeah, I think
stuff like that. So yeah,
I wonder if that's why
that was their heyday, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, but is that not now a perfect time for the nostalgia kick? That's why I hope that this year's one would be that good, because you'll get people now that will be thinking back to that sort of late 90s, early 2000s type of era of wrestling.
Yeah.
Again, if it came to Game Pass, I'd download it.
Likewise.
I would get it if I had heard good reviews and it was on sale for like 15 quid toward the end of the year. Like I wouldn't be bothered about getting it as a recent release, But like when it was like if it'd be like 10, 15 quid and it's meant to be good, I'll definitely give it a go.
Yeah, I wouldn't be paying full price, put it that way. But if it was 15 quid, I'd probably consider it if we all got on it and we could do double tag teams, etc. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on that one. Yeah.
I think so.
So what you got next, Billy?
I had a Wii. Just in the break, I had a Wii. I had a Wii.
Joke.
Thank you. Twilight Princess. That's all I need to say.
Yeah,
Sean's hair's going to fall off.
Of course.
Gee, I think that was mine as well.
Is
definitely.
great. That gets low.
It was actually a GameCube game though to begin with.
Yeah.
It came out on both actually. It was the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember playing it on the Wii as well, actually, not the GameCube.
Yeah, I played on the Wii, and it was just unbelievably good. I think we'll get onto a different Zelda game later. But I think that is between the one I will mention later and Ocarina of Time. I think that's probably third. I would say that was just.
It only gets stick because it's a bit emo. That's all I've ever heard people say about it.
Which one?
Yeah, honestly, that's all I hear. Is like,
it's dark. You mean rather? I've never heard it called emo before.
Maybe it's that kind of time, but dark. Yeah, but dark equals emo. I guess when you're like 16 or whatever.
Back in 2006.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably kids today that don't know what emo means.
Probably not. No.
True.
Bali, pull up a link in the thing of you in about 2010.
If you've got those
Guy
zebra skinny
liner,
tunes on, then
zebra skinnies,
God.
hair obscuring about 90% of
Luckily,
his
I
machine.
didn't post this all to Facebook when it first came out. Luckily,
Yeah.
I was quite restrained, so I do respect myself by not going overboard.
I think if you could see out of both your eyes, you weren't doing it right.
No.
Basically.
No, Twilight Princess is a great shout.
Yeah.
So
Well, again, Wii to Xbox had the Xbox Crystal, ladies and gents, not the black one, the crystal one. That's how we roll.
Xbox Crystal.
Yeah,
transparent,
boy.
like
you had
frosted.
green and you had transparent. Yeah.
That is just one word. Josh, put your hands on your chair. Don't fall off. It's got to be Fable, right?
Yes, sir. I never actually had the OG Xbox.
I toyed with
first
that,
played
and
it
I've
on
just
360.
Really.
Yeah, I remember I got it from CEX for like £8 or something. Best £8 I've ever spent.
I still think Fable is one of those games now that you could go and play quite happily, start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So
you say about people.
It's the only one I played from start to finish. I have not completed Fable 2, etc. I know it's Fable
Underrated.
Yeah, I know. I did start Fable 2, but I do need to carry on with it. But yeah, Fable from start to finish, I still remember. I don't know why it sticks in my mind, but the one scene I remember from Fable 1 is when you find your sister and she's blind, like in a dungeon. For some reason, that scene always sticks with me. I don't know why. And when your village burns down,
It had such an incredible story. I think a lot of RPGs just rely on the fact that they've got big open worlds and you can sort of make your own stories and go through them. But Fable, the story was unreal. It's unmatched.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Great. Really good.
It's
I think
really good.
it's just different to any other RPG as well. The sort of the whole concept of you choose whether to be good or evil. That was kind of new at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it changed
kind
the
of
appearance.
Groundbreaking. Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
Kotor
again.
obviously had it because it had dark side, light side, and it would change your appearance as well. So those two.
Yeah.
KOTOR was amazing. The only thing is, I think I've tried KOTOR since, and I couldn't get on with it.
It's janky.
Right.
Combat is so janky. That's why they're doing this
That's why
revamp.
I didn't get it on there.
Fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah.
Amazing story, combat. Yeah. A product of its time. So yeah. 360 then. I'd be shocked if I'm not hearing what I'm about to hear.
Do you know, Mike?
In
Do you know, I might actually shock you because this, for me, was the hardest category. I think that this was the golden age. In terms of probably what we are in our generation, I think this by far is the golden age. And I'd
100%.
thought about putting New Vegas on there, and I thought about putting Assassin's Creed 2 on there. And in the end, to touch on something we talked about previously, for games that sort of only worked at their time, it's got to be Guitar Hero 2.
I knew it! I knew it! I was just waiting for the words guitar.
Nothing like it.
I knew it.
The amount of times we had on there was I know it fit to the time now, and if I played it now I would be nowhere near as good, and I wouldn't know half the songs.
The memories of walking into your house with a 1.25 litre bottle of Coke and a kebab, and you just sat there playing with your white guitar, playing Guitar Hero.
For me, I think that might be the peak of nostalgia. That was like 2009. And the thing is, it wouldn't work now. That's why I think games that work for their time, if they'd released this game now, it would flop. If they said, you need to go out and buy another 40 quid guitar-shaped controller, you'd laugh your head off.
£120 for a bit of drum kit. It's very hard to sell, I think, nowadays.
I actually think that's where it went downhill, though. I think when they started to introduce Rock Band, and you then were talking about a mic and a drum kit, I think that's when it fell off.
Yeah, you know, did you ever?
Overcomplicated.
I don't play. I think I never played any of them, but then I can't remember. It came out afterwards, probably a little while after, where you could actually plug a real guitar in and play that.
Rocksmith, that was called.
Rocksmith,
that was.
I had that.
That was the actual teaching.
The only thing I didn't like about that, and I don't know whether George played this
Never
as
played
well. No, the way you learnt songs in it was really unusual. Basically, it had the song, like a song full speed, but you just have some of the notes that you'd be playing. So that's
That's
probably
weird.
how Guitar Hero would work. But I think normally with your learning, you learn all the notes and you just play it slower, which I think would have been
and then build it up. Yeah.
preferable way to play it. So I think they were taking the Guitar Hero way of memorizing a song basically, which is not necessarily how you learn, or not how I used to learn how to play guitar. And then I didn't get along with it in terms of it feeling like it was natural. Maybe it'll work for other people that learn in different ways, but yeah, I think that just went totally under the radar though when that came out.
Yeah, Rocksmith was almost like, what is this? Like, it's an actual guitar. Okay.
But then I think that's why I think that we talk about the downfall of that. Is that not part of it? If you're going to go learn guitar, then I think it's almost the wrong way to go about it. Go learn guitar.
I think, go learn guitar, and it kind of, because I remember that always the argument of like, oh Jesus Christ, you're good at Guitar Hero. Well, I can actually play that song on guitar, so F you.
Like, exactly.
It's a video game, mate. Like,
but it's a karaoke equivalent, isn't it? You don't go to a karaoke bar and think I can sing like Ed Sheeran. So I wasn't picking up a Guitar Hero controller and thinking...
It was the best party game because you could have a few and then jump on and you could be a drummer. Yeah, you could literally jump on, play bass on.
I mean, with drumming though, there's some utility in learning that, right? Because you're learning the beat. But I think I do like the idea of it being like real. I get the arcadey version, but there is, a lot of sort of ways that it mirrors how you'd learn an instrument. And Ben, obviously you spent a lot of time and you would have needed a lot of practice, like those sort of that persistence would have, carried over into learning an instrument. Not saying that you should, but
I'd be like Van Halen if I'd carried on, mate.
The finger buttons on your I think on your Explorer were just completely worn down. I think by like one of the end of the summers, they were just like there was no spring back on them whatsoever because of the hammer-on like shite it would make you do.
And to be fair, I've only got crippling arthritis now, so it's totally worth it.
Fire and Flames on Expert, and just that is no. It's funny. I did see recently on YouTube of one apparently pro player on Guitar Hero. He got caught using some sort of like bot software. His like reputation's completely destroyed because people noticed like these weird glitches in his videos, and like he was just basically like faking like the playing on webcam. And it's just like, oh Jesus! But fucking people that can do like 100% like proper, just like utterly insane. The reaction times of like a gnat. It's just don't know how you do it, but. I knew it was going to be Guitar Hero, I put it that way. I mean, just knew it. I just could feel it in my bones, and like I say, it's one of the best kind of like party games, that's for sure.
It introduced you to a lot of music as well.
Yeah,
massively. I still listen to it. Oh,
yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember I got. Even though I knew of Nirvana, I got way into their back catalogue after In Bloom and stuff was on like number 3, and a few like weird kind of like foreign bands that were throwing the tracks there, and you'd be like, "Oh, this is pretty wacky, but it's pretty good." Like
Freebird.
Freebird.
Oh yeah, but back in the day, they used to throw in free DLC. You didn't have to pay for it. They would try and keep you interested, but I didn't have 10 songs on.
Those days are gone.
Those old days. Sorry, just put the Zimmer frame down.
And then they just, I think then after 3 they were starting to, basically say cough up some money. I know Rock Band did that with like, Green Day pack. Oh no, they did a whole separate game for Green Day. I got that.
They did.
Of course,
They did.
Yeah.
Did they? Jeez, I
They
remember
did
that.
for rock
And
bands
Aerosmith as
specifically.
well.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't
I
they?
remember
Jesus.
that.
Yeah.
And Metallica as well.
I'm sure they did.
That was Guitar
to
Hero.
say that.
Guitar Hero. I think that was the
Yeah.
rival. Yeah, there you go. So, no, yeah, I'm not surprised it's Guitar Hero. So,
I think the
The real
problem was
question
it
is
got.
then, at what point did
I think
you
they did a
start playing with your
Beatles one
feet?
as well.
I wasn't going to
Oh,
mention
God.
it because I
could
couldn't.
play-
I could.
I could
I
play
didn't know-
medium difficulty with my feet.
Yeah. Because I was going to
Nothing
say.
harder than that.
You didn't do Through the Fire and Flames on medium with your feet, did you?
I've done it.
Probably
Yeah.
did it.
I
We
have
probably did
done
at one point. Again, when I was bringing this food and drink, he would still play it and sit it down the floor and then playing while eating.
Can I tell you? My
I'm
greatest
pretty
ever
sure that is the
achievement.
truth.
Number 2 on that game was playing it on expert, 100% behind my head, so I couldn't hold the controller properly. And then number 1, the greatest achievement on that game was playing co-op by myself. So I played expert on my hands and medium on my feet and got all the way through.
Oh my god!
When you have all the
I think
time.
I'm missing a trick here. I should be a YouTube sensation, really.
Yeah, was there ever a recording of this?
Your hand
No.
eye feet coordination must be absurd.
I think those times the cameras were still very, very like noisy and like grainy, so I doubt you'd get anything decent now.
It wasn't a case if you had your phone in your pocket like you do now. That's the problem.
Flip phones like Motorola, like Razor or something. Some crap
LG
like that.
chocolate, the little slide.
Yeah. Christ.
Yes.
Jesus, not these smartphones the kids got nowadays.
It's the sort of touching on that, just go off tangent. It's the saddest picture that never happened. It's me and George going backstage at an Shikari gig, and we didn't have phones with cameras on.
No.
That wasn't a thing. And me and him are the only. We're the only ones.
No, people didn't believe us.
No one believed
We were
us.
still very
No one believed
chin
us.
scratchy, but at this point I met them like years and years.
Yeah,
so
they're
I
not
could
hard to
probably-
meet.
I could probably be like, yeah, it's fine. We met outside the forum when they played Tunbridge Wells, so I was like, I kind of went, yeah, I guess that it's pretty plausible when you think about it. So, and that was like just after Takes the Skies, so that wouldn't be like major.
No.
But
They
times.
teased the Jester on that one.
They did.
Just to put you in nostalgia.
Yeah, I think it was
Anyway.
2007. I think that one. Was.
Yeah.
8? No, 8. I think it was 2008.
I think if I go any
as
more,
well, and it was unknown at the time.
I think if I go any more down this absolute tangent, you'll find me. So let's back on track.
It's Xbox One. Then are you getting close to modern day?
See, again, I struggled to put down a sort of top game. I just thought it's got to be Master Chief Collection, surely.
Yeah, all in one.
Good choice.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
All the I mean,
I know a lot of you are now,
Not at launch.
especially you, Ollie, are playing
Not at
through
launch,
the,
no, definitely not.
campaigns again.
I'm literally going through Halo 2
as we speak.
Yeah. I just think Halo 3 campaign especially I felt was unreal, and I know they've added Reach and stuff since, which is amazing, but if you're an Xbox player, I think Halo is a must.
Yeah,
100%.
it's an essential game, I think.
Yeah.
It just is to have.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
Iconic.
it's a very good choice.
I can't praise it enough, to be honest.
I think when I was doing my game list, I think I didn't actually have an Xbox One. That's when I made my switch over to Sony. But there was nothing that really inspired me in this generation besides The Last of Us on PS4. Even though I think that came out on PS3, maybe, and it was remastered. I can't remember.
Yeah, remastered. Yeah,
That's
you're
the
correct.
only game on PS4 that I thought was exceptional, and there was nothing else in the whole generation that really took me.
Yeah, The Last of Us. Yeah, I've mentioned before. Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then there was a thing that happened, and she's got me quite hooked on different PlayStation games at the minute. You'll be sad to hear, George. But we actually then had a PS4, And I think if you're talking about games that you need to play that are console exclusive, Uncharted.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, we
For
mentioned it
me,
before.
on PS4, Uncharted
I've
4 was
got it as well. I haven't played it yet
unbelievable.
though. That's great. It's just waiting there for me to play.
4 is we mentioned over the other podcast. It's just like you're playing a film. It's so good. The set pieces, just amazing.
And I can't think of an action game in terms of Xbox that matches that is like a console exclusive anyway.
Not console exclusive. The Tomb Raider games have been very similar
that's good.
And quite high quality as well.
Yeah, I was thinking Prince of Persia as well, but I know
I'm still waiting for news on the new one.
Yeah,
it's been delayed.
Delayed indefinitely. Yeah, at the moment it's very sad. But I'd rather them take their time with that. To be honest, don't screw up one of my favourite games of all time, please.
Yeah, it's true. So that was great. And then, to be honest, since I've got a Series X, if you're talking in terms of Series X exclusives or Series S exclusives, I suppose, for me it's got to be Forza.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think we got to that point now where I can make a clean decision of like. Well, I say that I guess Doom Eternal might have to be like one for my like if I had to round off the gen. Exclusive. We have just in general that's up there. But as far as export, I don't think we're there yet with exclusives. I just don't.
Planet Coaster.
There's no exclusives though, right? They're still coming out on Xbox One, right?
It's still. I couldn't even tell you if there's a game that's specifically coming just to Xbox that I'm like, yes, I cannot wait till that comes out. I think it's kind of just. I think Infinite was that, and
Elder Scrolls 6.
That's not coming for like at least 5 years.
Yeah,
10 years.
Starfield as well.
I know I mentioned it before, but Sable. You boys need to play Sable.
Yeah, Sable's good.
I have seen that on there. It's on download.
It's great.
It's very beautiful. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I don't think there's a game that looks as good as Forza. In terms of driving games, I think they can be repetitive and boring, and I think Forza gives you a good amount of sort of different levels, different designs through I know it's like one landscape, but you've got enough difference in it that I don't think you could ever play a driving game solid though. I can't, unless you're into that sort of thing. I couldn't sit there and play it all day.
No, I'm into the arcadey ones myself. Burnout all the way. I wish there was another Burnout. Like I want the kind of Burnout Revenge kind of thing. Not really a Paradise. I didn't really agree with I didn't personally like the open world they gave because it was just this city track and that was it. So yeah, I just want a Burnout Revenge kind of thing. So yeah, but
and then
Wreckfest almost got there, but
yeah, I've got two more. I'll quickly reel them off for you. I'm considering this maybe the best game I've ever played. Just sits highly, but it's got to be Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I liked it, but I did really miss the Zelda formula.
Do you reckon?
I really did miss it with dungeons and stuff.
But you have also said about Assassin's Creed. I wasn't going to bring up Assassin's Creed. This is what you've done to me. You said as soon as the Odyssey formula, as I call it, as soon as they decided we're going to go RPG, we're going to sort of the stealth is there, but it's optional. I thought that they moved with the times. I thought that Assassin's Creed it's just got better and better, and they actually have done a phenomenal job with that. And I think a lot of people, yourself included, thought, no, you've ruined it.
I just think Black Flag is where it peaked with. Syndicate. I tried to play it. I just couldn't get on with the story. It was such a snooze fest. And just for me, just personally, I just think I'm an assassin. I have a long, sharp, pointy blade. I should be able to one-shot you very, very easily in combat. And that's what Revelations and everything did. Assassin's Creed Black Flag kind of pulled away from that a little bit. It was a few more, but an RPG with he's like an enemy's level 20 and there's like you're level like 12. I was just like, what are you doing here? Like,
Oh no, I have to wholeheartedly disagree.
It just cut the kind of whole master assassin thing out the way. Just like there's, I'd argue you got to, as a dev, you've got to be creative. You've got to be you've got to think of a brand new way where you could keep some of those one shots in check or something. I don't know, like there's definitely a way you could do it, but I just think RPG was just a way of, let's just throw this on here now as the template for now until people want to go back to how it used to be.
I'm sure in Valhalla you have the option, I could be totally wrong again, that you can actually switch that mode on.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Problem with it now is it's not just the combat with Creed games now, it literally is the open world. It's, as Georgie has said it many times, it's as vast as an ocean and the depth of a puddle. Like,
I thought Valhalla was better for that though. I was much better Odyssey and Origins for that.
But again,
I would say that that's Ubisoft's sort of strength, is creating these worlds that are pretty interesting. They don't necessarily have to have something to do, but interesting to navigate is something that I feel like keeps you coming back. Like Breath of the Wild is pretty stark in terms of what you can do in it, right? You can do those sort of shrines. You can collect Korok seeds, and there's like a few side missions, but other than that,
that's fine because that's the first of its series, so I can give that a pass. But Creed's been doing it so many times. Like, can you remember? Like Syndicate and the amount of just busy work, and I guess I could just say the same for the rest of it. It's like it's just so much busy work and do these bandit camps. It's just I think it's just that it's a Ubisoft open world formula that is just really stale. You kind of admit it yourself with Far Cry. You've kind of hit that wall now with the new one. You said it's like nothing has changed. It's like what I wasted my money.
I'd say with Far Cry, it has, but I really enjoyed Valhalla for what it was. I do get your feeling that you miss the old way it was, but it's really done well in creating.
I don't disagree that it's still kind of got there for certain people. I miss the Black Flag is where it peaked for me, and I don't think unless it can come back to that kind of combat navigation with the ship stuff or something. But the problem is with Creed is that the storyline with the future storyline has always been something I've really disliked about the whole thing from the start. I think if they just had it where it was all set in the past, or they just so little on the
it is very limited on the future stuff.
I don't the whole kind of previous civilization and stuff. It's like, what? I don't care about any of this kind of thing. It's just I
think where I struggle with it is where it's gone into the sort of mystical realm.
I'm totally with you.
It's especially with Odyssey, they released DLC where one of the main character, whoever you were, I think I played as Cassandra, the female assassin, got hold of what's Poseidon's trident, I think
That's right. I think it's that.
God of the Sea.
And it allowed her to live for a long time, and I think she ends up meeting in the new DLC that they're releasing for Valhalla, she ends up meeting Ivor. So
that's right.
You're Odin in the new DLC for Valhalla, aren't you?
Yeah, am I thinking of
weird?
They touch on that in terms of the actual main game.
How bizarre.
If you sort of know
I don't think you ever
mythology.
Did you ever get to that bit where it talks about Odin? Ali, did you?
Nah, I dropped off the radar way early, mate. You can carry on. Like, I might be going back to it, put it that way.
Oh, I don't know. I think you're I know it's each to your own, isn't it?
I just combat just the vastness of the world, and I just it's just I'm just burnt out on that Ubisoft thing. Honestly, if they took Assassin's Creed 1 and that the size of that world and put it into a new setting, then I'd be straight on it. Like dense, small
I loved
side
the
missions.
Viking setting, but I could not get into Valhalla. So
yeah, I just Black Flag is where it peaks, and it hasn't got there since. That's just me. So
no, I mean, to be fair, the Wolverine is the last game I mentioned. Lucky enough to actually get hold of a PlayStation 5.
Jesus.
And Forbidden West is not only is it, you talk about games where you're talking about Valhalla or the sort of new style RPG where you have a lot of the same thing in the same world. So even in Forbidden West, you've got a lot of bandit camps. You've got a lot of
as much. Sorry to cut across you. As much as it is good, it definitely suffers from the open world format.
I just think that is an open world thing, but the story and actually. It's probably is second to Witcher in terms of side quests that actually feel rewarding. In terms of story, the side quests actually work. The characters, you actually have decent relationships and stuff with, and it actually feels worthwhile, which it doesn't on a lot of games.
Yeah, the side characters are definitely, you get to know them a lot more. They're and some obviously are part of the whole thing to be as vague as possible for anyone who hasn't played it. I agree.
And I actually think we're going to go technical now, but I actually think that Xbox needs a lot of work on its controllers, because the controller functionality on the PlayStation compared to the Xbox now, so the PlayStation 5 controller, it doesn't probably feel as nice to play. The hand position's not as nice, but the actual vibrate in it, the fact the triggers interact differently depending on
the haptic
feedback.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, I was waiting for you to finish. Yeah, I mean, even Xbox have said, do people want this? And they might even be starting to implement it.
What is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like if you're drawing back a bow, for example, the rumble kind of makes you feel like you're actually doing it, kind of thing. It's like interactable vibration kind of thing, I guess you could describe it as.
And having an actual like a speaker through the controller. So if you're playing a game, so let's take Horizon for example. If you're crouching and crawling through long grass stealthily, the actual sound of the grass like brushing past you comes out of the controller to sort of immerse you more into it.
See, I would like the option to turn that off, because sometimes it can get a bit annoying, and sometimes I'm on a headset, so I don't really.
The Wii had something like that, and it was very gimmicky. I think that because the mic was quite low quality, so I don't know whether PS5 has got better quality mic.
Well, doesn't it?
PS4, PS4 has it with the
I think I switched it off straight away.
It does put me off.
I didn't mind it. It blended with the game, I think, and what sound it was coming from.
Yeah, I think because on the Horizon, for example, when you click the middle button, it does a focus noise, and after a while, it does get just like.
Do you know, I love that.
If I can turn you off, then I'd be happy.
I think GTA 5, it was quite decent with GTA 5 because when you had a wanted level, the light on the controller at the top would flash blue and red for the police sirens, and then all the siren noise would come through the controller. See, that's quite cool. That worked, but I get that other games it's actually a bit annoying.
Maybe dependent on the game as much as it is on the actual controller feature.
Absolutely,
how it works. But I'd love it. I think that Xbox needs to step its controller up.
Yeah, again, they have asked for people if they want it, and I think they'll be implementing it. So yeah, hopefully, maybe.
Does that mean new controllers then? Because they won't.
I guess so. Well, I said to Georgie about a week or so ago, I'm pretty sure I've seen rumoured that they're already working on upgraded versions of the current consoles, so there'd be a Series X Pro or something along those lines. and they'd mostly be thinner and stuff. So who knows? They might put the new controls on that.
They've been upgrading consoles ever since, back in like the PS2 where you would get the Slim, then
Slim,
360 started off with this white 20 gig thing, then you get the Elite, then you got the S, I think. I don't even know, but wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and the Xbox One, and then it was the Series.
Yeah.
Oh God, not the Series. The Xbox One X, and
That's right. I might upgrade my Series S at that point.
I won't be surprised. So
their names are shocking, though, aren't they? The consoles. They need to sort that out.
Scorpio and whatever one they had previously would have been perfect. Scarlet and Scorpio. Scorpio being the X and Scarlet being the S. I mean, I don't get why they. Well, have them named
were they the original names?
Yeah, the project
names.
Yeah. Code names.
I think the 360
the S and the X is awful because then they've also had the Xbox One X, and it's just I don't know. It's a poor.
It's like
poor name.
Wii U, isn't it? Same thing.
Yeah, and people got confused because I didn't realise it was a whole separate console. They thought it was an add-on. Even I thought the Wii U was an addon.
Yeah.
It's like, it was a whole separate console. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the Wii U that did really badly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Because, again, people didn't know what it was, and they admitted that at Nintendo. They said, we didn't really advertise it very well. Or, again, I thought it was just a weird add-on, but no, it was a whole separate console.
I didn't even know that they had released it for years.
Yeah. Exactly, so I think that's just a testament of how badly it was advertised. So they lost a lot of money apparently. I think that even
Sean loved this Wii U.
I didn't have one.
So, no one. I think
I had
George.
I had one. George, but my brother gave it to me for free.
I paid for mine.
He had one. He bought it with his mate just to play like Mario Kart occasionally when they would go over to his, and then. He wanted to get rid. I was like, I'll buy it off you. And then he just gave it to me with like 5 games, so I really don't care. Just have it.
The thing is, what they did is that they ported almost all those games over to the Switch and probably likely made back the money they lost because they released a lot of fairly decent games on Wii U. Yeah, that's
3D World.
Mario Kart
Super
8,
Mario
they haven't released a Mario Kart since then. Yeah.
No, Mario Kart 8. Smash Brothers was a port as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, what Ultimate was?
Yeah, that was from Wii U.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So well, that is a good old selection.
Apart from the greatest game of all time, which was RuneScape, but
that's true. Game.
Yeah, Passy got banned. I don't know if we mentioned that before. He got banned.
That's pretty standard for Passy in all games, though. To be fair.
Didn't you get? Yeah,
no, I didn't get banned.
Well, who got banned and had to send a message to the devs?
So I got done for real-world item trading because I bought some gold, and then George wrote a letter pretending to be my mum and said my son has been very naughty, and he apologises profusely, and they unbanned my account.
Amazing.
I still have nightmares about you and George betraying me in the wilderness.
Ridiculous.
Just follow me into the wildy, it'll be fine.
Wildy.
Cool. We'll get on some a few gamey stuff, and then we'll call it a day. And are you boys excited for 2 maps that are coming in May for Halo Infinite? What are your thoughts on Halo Infinite?
No.
True that.
Couldn't be bothered.
I cannot believe it's 2 maps. I cannot believe it's 2 maps.
Is that when the new season is dropping?
That's when the new season is dropping.
It's great. There's new content coming to it, but it's still not enough. Like I got bored of 7 maps pretty quickly. I'm gonna get bored of 2. Really quickly. So
2 is no good. 2 is no good. I just cannot believe how. Again, as we were talking earlier with this live service.
What about game mode?
I don't think there is.
They gave a list. I mean, they said I'm pretty sure King of the Hill was mentioned, and I just don't. They could potentially add this elimination mode they had. They keep taking away. SWAT. They keep. They've just added for this the new limited time event, but I just as we were saying earlier, I don't get why, from a business standpoint. I know that it was rushed. I just don't get why they're just, with Halo especially, they've done exactly the same as they did for Halo 5 Guardians. Literally barren on launch.
I just don't understand that.
Neither do I.
Still haven't announced co-op yet, have they?
No, it's been delayed, and Forge has been delayed, I think.
Because they made it open world, there's no loading section, so how are they going to make that co-op?
Drop in, drop out. I'm sure they're trying. It's just, it's
but then
tragic.
If you go far apart, you could go to opposite ends of the map.
Yeah,
they'll have to make it work.
I don't know. But then I guess you could start. There could be an issue with you starting I can't even remember what they were called now, but the outposts, FOBs, were they called FOBs?
Yeah, forward operator.
I guess there could be an issue where you're starting 2 bits, but at the end of the day, the campaign, the storyline's great, but the open world was so bleak and samey that I really couldn't care about.
Wanted more swamps, didn't you?
Just different environments. Look at Halo. You boys have literally been playing Halo 1. How many locations have you gone to in that game just on the ring?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is quite repetitive in the way it uses it now. Probably at the time it was good because they needed to do it on the hard way, but we were noticing how much of it was repetitive. At least in terms of the levels.
But it gives you Forerunner, it gives you Mountainside, it gives you the swamplands, the forest lands, it gives you the desert kind of regions. It's just got so... if you was to slice up the Halo Infinite world and have those allocated to certain different environments, I think it would have helped it a lot better. That's what I was expecting.
But then it kind of I get it, and it's probably like a cop out, but it's explained by the story as in that they're stuck on the ring, right? In most of the other Halo campaigns, Master Chief is traveling around different places. He's not always on the same place, right?
But it was meant to be there, and obviously they have the transport pelicans and whatnot. So that's obviously how he got round and underground passages in the original Halo. So there was definitely where they could have worked it around, and having the weapon obviously in the system. There are teleporters in that universe. They just could have done. There was definitely a way around to have it in different environments, but.
To be fair to Bali, even Banjo-Kazooie's got a swamp level.
It's true. I am notorious for wanting swamp levels in every single one of my games.
Red Dead's got a swamp area.
There you go.
Swamp. When you see it, but I'm pretty sure there's a ghost as well, ghost story, or a weird kind of ritual kind of thing in one of the swamp lands in in Red Dead 2.
The graphics in the swamp with the steam coming off are just insane.
Dragging one you've just hog-tied as well, for it. It's funny. So, and snow, good times. Red Dead had its Red Dead's on the list. I'm sure that's gonna get remastered at some point because GTA 5 is coming out again with another fucking remaster. God, just stop. Yeah, one person's excited for it in this party.
Got that shit on pre-order.
Of course you have. Just the Hot Fuzz joke of when did you come out? Every year. It's just done with GTA 5.
Remaster's £17. I'm happy with that.
It's like a bad penny. It just won't go away. But just Infinite. I just can't believe it's barren. In a year's time, it's going to be a totally different game, and we're going to be loving it. But I'm just going back to my MCC at the moment. I just can't believe that it's just. I can't believe you've done this. Just that. But if you haven't seen that video, which I'll put in the description. If you haven't seen 343's handling since they took over from Bungie, it has been pretty ropey, with the games in general. Passy mentioned the MCC launch. I was there for that. That was abysmal. I didn't realise the amount of bugs Halo 4 multiplayer had. Benny, did you realise that in Halo 4 multiplayer there was a bug where you could basically... Oh Jesus, something's going on your headset, mate.
Oh.
Okay.
Is that better? the better.
There's someone playing a bongo, wouldn't it?
Bom, 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 yeah, banjo kazooie. No, as I was saying with just 3-4-3's handling, there was a game-breaking bug in Halo 4 where you could kick the enemy team in your session. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently it was a game-breaking. It was game-breaking basically because you could kick the opposite team. So if you had a rank match, you just kick the opposite team, and your rank continuously goes up.
That's incredible.
Obviously, Halo 5 had issues, and the pay to win, obviously with the Warzone stuff, and I just can't believe what with Halo Infinite. It's pretty tragic. So. And one last point, even though it might be a really short discussion, but I know that Passy, you've mentioned it, but you boys I take it you've seen Elden Ring, and just like as I said earlier, that game has literally I've got one article here. Again, all these links will be in the description. So apparently Elden Ring is the biggest non-FIFA or Call of Duty launch since Red Dead 2 in the UK.
That's impressive.
Wow.
It has done really, really well. And I know you boys haven't... Well, Passy, I once said to him, whether I said it was a fun game, I'm pretty sure I had in the same sentence, it's a challenging game also. Because he picked it up thinking he was going to breeze through, and apparently he's not got past the first.
Bear in mind, I had no
sludge.
idea what to expect and didn't know its reputation. And going on what you said, and I quote, your exact words were, "It's good fun."
It is, though.
So, fun to me is like a game you pick up and play, and you just crack on with it straight away. That is certainly not what Dark Souls is.
Dark Souls 3 was the first game that I ever played from FromSoft, and again, I learned a bit more, as in like what it was like. But as far as playing it, I had to learn there and then. Like the first starting section, I died for like a multiple 10, like 30, 40 times before I got like the specific class I was after. But supposedly Elden Ring is quite accessible. I mean, even my pals on about getting it, and I said to him, "You do not realise that it's a bloody hard game, Dad. You do realise that?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, but looking, and apparently it's really accessible." I was like, "It still is made by the same people that made this, and it's challenging, but it's fair in most places."
Yeah.
But, I mean, has that tickled any of you boys' fancies, Elden Ring, or are you
I don't buy games anymore. That's my rule. So.
That's true.
I mean,
the problem I have with it.
I am gonna get
tempted
it.
as well.
I am gonna get it, but I'm not in a rush to get it because for the listener, I got up until the last boss of Dark Souls 3, but I think I mucked up my build, so I couldn't get past the very last stage of the boss. There's a 3-stage boss at the end, which you got to do in one go, and it's near impossible if you do it a certain way, and it's just crushingly hard. But I enjoyed it nonetheless, the game itself. So it's on my list to get, that's for sure.
The problem I have is I like playing 2 Point Hospital.
I hear it's it's Sekiro kind of difficulty, and I played that as well, and that is a lot more easier than Dark Souls, that's for sure. So I've heard it's that. So yeah, if that's the case, then yes, it is going to be slightly fair, as it were, but so you're all tempted, so that's quite good because it has got 4-player co-op. I don't know how well it's implemented in like the original Dark Souls is, because it was very fiddly. You had to have an item in order to get into someone else's world, so whether that's kind of changed, but yeah, the general consensus for that is it's pretty good and it's done really well. And did you hear that some Ubisoft employees or devs and Guerrilla Games devs have been really salty about its success? You guys hear about that?
No.
So one guy from again, links as always in the description. Basically, one Guerrilla Games dev who does the Horizon stuff basically complains that no one, as in us, the consumer, or the customer I should say, consumer sounds horrible word, we the customers don't know the difference between good UI and bad UI, and he basically dropped a really salty comment of, my life is a lie, people don't know the quality of a decent UI, and Elden Ring has an awful one, which people say it's not perfect, but they just see it as like uberly salty. And some Ubisoft dev as well complained about quest design. No, sorry, it was the other way around. So the Ubisoft dev complained about the UI, and the Guerrilla Games guy complained about quest design, where in Elden Ring you go out and you search, and you basically, that's how you progress. It doesn't give you hinters or pointers or markers to check out. It's like, see something in a distance, go for it and see what it takes you. And they've just been uberly salty about it online, and they got trolled by people. And there was one image which I'll flash on screen where one guy says, I fixed it, and it's basically like a modern day Ubisoft, like look, it's got like a mini map in the corner with question marks, and your character saying, I should check out that cave nearby, and like stuff like that, like go and spend money in this shop, and message of the day, and blah blah blah. So yeah, they've and apparently one ex Ubisoft dev called out like a hypocrite, basically saying it's bad quest design, when he came back and said, well, the Ubisoft open world's pretty stale now. I should know because I used to work there. So like yeah, it's been quite a bit of fighting with just around the just the game in general, not specifically like how the game is, just that like how popular the game is. People have like having like fights online, going, oh, like the ones you hear where it gets 1 point off 100% on Metacritic, so people send death threats to people. I think it's kind of neared that kind of level of like mental kind of thing. I could be wrong, but that's kind of like what I've heard. But no, I mean, yeah, it's done by older George R. R. Martin, the story, but apparently he didn't have that much input. So
it's used his name as promo.
Yeah, I think that's probably is the case. But you boys, yeah, you're tempted, are you, by it? Anything particularly? Half tempted. Anything particular, or just because it's open world?
Just the reviews has kind of made me pay attention a little bit, but
yeah. I say best selling. It's number 1 in the UK, and yeah, it's done. I think it's quarterly is the best thing that's come out this year, and if not, like combined to
I think the fact that it's finished as well is a big plus.
Yeah, people did say that yeah, because it's finished and it hasn't got that many major bugs. It's nice to have a game that works and is actually complete. So and Benny's just gone, so I think that's probably a good time to wrap up. I don't think anyone else have much input. So hopefully I've got the audio, I've got the video, I've got everything else, and they can actually see the full production of this thing working to what I want it to be, like what I intended when I originally started this thing out. So
the entire confection.
Indeed, indeed. Oh no! And if you've heard screams and grunts and stuff recently, it's because for some reason George and Passy decided to play FIFA while recording this. So no doubt Passy's been muting his headset and absolutely raging because for some reason he likes to torture himself with FIFA. I just don't. Yeah. It's anyway. Thank you for listening. If you've gotten this far, thank you, boys, for joining me. Thank you, and see you later.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Bye, guys.